Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Back with another video. This one is a first for me. This is pretty much me talking about my account for the first time ever, and I am recapping and reviewing my experience with the previous RTA season, which was the spring 2026 season, how I went about my account, what changed, what started, what happened with the season, pretty much going and going over my units, how I had them built, and going from there and talking about pretty much my experience. So this is going to be a long one, a doozy. We're going to start off here with Renak, pretty much fastest unit on my account. So her stats and whatnot, the pieces and the gear, pretty self-explanatory. Gave her my fastest pieces. I rolled this during the season. I actually rolled this on stream. Pretty memorable clip if anyone was watching that at Twitch .tv/JoK5, which is where I primarily stream Epic 7. But yeah, there's not a lot to go about it with Renak here. She was my fastest unit for the season. Kind of had a hard time picking her because whenever you're locking her in on 3, you're susceptible to Harsetti players picking Harsetti to upend stuff. So, like, the more or less times I tried to play Renak for the season, it was more or less as a after my opponent had locked in their third pick, and then by that time she had been taken or not, then it was an uphill swing of things. But yeah, pretty much fastest skiers, like I said, and I had some success with her. Ran, he's gotten a little bit faster. Here I've rolled a couple pieces of gear. The sword's brand new. The helmet I took from a different unit, but other than that, I really didn't play him much last season. He was primarily if my opponent was committing to play slow, so his games had a very low pick rate, I think. I had a very high win rate with him, but a very low pick rate. C Phantom Politis, she has since gotten faster after the season ended. She was 290 when the season started, 299 at the end of the season, and uh, thanks to the right side piece with the craft event for the 20 speeders, she's now over the 300 speed mark. So that's a nice little speed push. Pretty solid unit. Can't be targeted and pushed back by Zeo. I didn't exactly have a high pick rate with her either, but as far as she goes, I'm probably gonna primarily use her more next season, but we'll see how that goes. Top model Luluka. So for last season, for the spring season, I did not use this unit much. This unit was on Destro set. She was maybe 240 speed. I used her as a bridge. So if I played Sea Phantom or if I played Briar Witch or if I played someone else, I would pick Tomoka like as a 5 pick to complete the draft. But since her buff and the EE and stuff like that, she has since gotten faster. Whether or not I keep this speed going into next season remains to be seen. But this is how I've been running her in the preseason so far at 301 speed. I'm not exactly like against the idea of it, but yeah, it helps. Got her on free run artifact for Soul Generation, so yeah. Ahmed, I have her 300 speed. This unit, I really did not play her often. Like as far as Ahmed goes, Ahmed for myself, my playstyle kind of goes around with how if a if my opponent picks a fast unit, or if my opponent is like high Emperor or high Legend, what I was seeing a lot last season, me pushing 300 speed is a mindset of I'm not fast enough to go ahead and take the first turn. So me playing Ahmed, pretty much any of these 300 speed units you guys see is if my opponent was locking in slow picks, then I would speed up. which then brings me to Briar. Briar, at the halfway point of the season, closer towards the end of the season, I had a bit of an account mindset change where after getting advice from Vic and coaching from him, some coaching and feedback from Valky, advice from Anyo, advice from Tristan, advice from others, they're like, hey, you've got to actually go ahead and stop just picking 5 units in RTA and just trying to go about things where you're just, haha, here's the funny unit, here's a funny unit, whatever, and actually try to be cohesive with your drafts. So I started playing more to where I started building my units and speed tuning them to where I had like the C Phantom pick, the Renac picks, the Ahmed picks, the Briar pick. So of course, with Briar for Briar Cleave setting that up, 300 speed now. She was 296 for me the last week of the season. So, yeah, she's gotten 4 speed faster. And the plus 30 renewed will helps out a lot. Whether or not I'm going ahead and committing it to it next season, we'll see. But I think I'm going to go ahead and push it. Payra, this unit just. I had a lot of people that were like, why is this unit still geared, Joe? Why do you have this unit still geared? This unit's a lunatic gear unit. Even with the escort buff and stuff like that, I don't really have any idea whether or not she will see much play. So I might just ungear her. As you see, she's 296 speed, pretty decently fast, and she's on Gobletos as well. Spirit Isolate. So as far as Spirit Isolation goes, I have been kicking around the idea of whether or not to go and commit to an ER Celine. Whether or not that is one of the same and whether or not I choose to do that is completely dependent on how I go about my playstyle, because control is so rampant. The new Kali, Sigret, Tenebria, like it is just so so unbelievably out there that with certain units it's just a pain in the butt to try to go ahead and just gear these units. Whereas like I've got to rush them down essentially. So I mean with Celine, she's 293 speed. She was 292 speed at the end of the season. I've got her on summer photo. The immunity set's kind of there, so I can go ahead and soul her in the first turn. But when the end came out, that kind of changed how much I picked her. So it wasn't exactly like a high priority unit for myself. Lone Wolf Payra is an interesting unit because she used to be 280 speed at the season start, and then I sped her up as the season progressed. But with Payra, there's a clear desire that if I want to keep her fast, or if I'm willing to slow her down a bit, I need to commit to speed immunity because I found myself playing her more into Harsetti last season and hoping that I would evade and avoid the Harsetti's Bubble Maker stuns or Abyssal Crown stuns, and then use Para to cleanse it. And that was with varying results. So whether or not I choose to go about that next season with Para as one of the same, I still got her on Uberius too. People are like, hey, maybe she needs to go back to Sweet Miracle, but I have other units that have priority with Sweet Miracle. LPK, I did not play this unit much last season. 285 speed. She's been 285 speed for a while. So, like, yeah. DN got her buff. She's now Ahmed stats. She's 284 speed. Ideally, I would like to speed her up to 290 speed. Some have said something about like giving her like 200 plus ER and letting her just go ahead and just whatever and push up off of Soul Constellation now and just kind of just buff stack. But it's like I feel like DN could be a real strong catalyst for the coming seasons in Lunatic and whatnot. This unit, for those that watched me on Twitch frequently throughout the season, this unit was one of my biggest gripes. Her kit is irritating. Her kit is annoying. She makes me as a turn two player that likes to play and lean towards turn two and just give up the first turn, the second turn to my opponent, a absolute nightmare because S3 strips two buffs, which puts up fear too. She pushes back, so I'm already behind the eight ball there. Her S2 is a target and with souls ignore ER because of course. And oh yeah, for fun, her S2 also is uncounterable, so they can just go ahead and take out certain units. I had so many people say, "Why don't you play Sharoon into this? Why don't you play Dragon King Sharoon into her? Why don't you play so and so into her?" And like this unit was one of my biggest growing pains last season. Mine is 283 speed. I put her on Goblet of Oath. I still think this artifact is absolutely irritating the way it works. But yeah. Veronica. Now, Veronica caused me some pain and whatnot last season as well. For starters, she is 282 speed. I sped her up to counteract the N. I've got her on the I've got her on the additional 30% artifact or the EE for additional push up to have her cut DN and have her cut Teus. But I was informed that 240 speed Teu actually can cut her. So that was a fun interaction I was informed of and discovered. And I'm kind of leaning off of wanting to go back to the push back artifact or the push back EE because whenever there's a fight that has the DN pushed up, there have been instances where I kind of wish I could push the DN back. Even if I don't land the bomb with my 177 effectiveness, it is a huge pain in the butt to fight DN, land the defense break, but not the bomb, and then be like, okay, well, I guess I lose now because of 15%, because now the DN's just going to go ahead and S3 push me back, and that's that. So, yeah, I mean, that was a interaction and a half with her. But she's on Guiding Light. A lot of people were like, oh, why not Sasha Thons? Why not whatever? And I've had more success with her being on Guiding Light because it prevents me from being S2'd by Renox. This is the other uh, pain unit. 281 Witch of the Mirror Tenebria. Pretty much have her as a Renak bridge. So Renak goes S2, S3, pushes up Tenebria, Tenebria S3s. And depending if it was resistant warfare or not, I'd actually have success with this unit. I had her banned numerous times last season. There was just too many instances where it was a pain in the neck to go ahead and deal with it. People were stacked up like freaking Sigrid and Tenebria together, and the debuffs in the temple would just be too much for me to overcome. So this is how mine is built: 154 effectiveness, 281 speed, like really decent speed. She's on Keystone, so with the Keystone that gets her another 10% for all allies. So yeah, not too bad. Elagos. So as far as Elagos goes, Elagos really never saw a lot of play on my account prior. Never saw a lot of play on my account after Arunka came out because single target cleave and whatnot kind of fell off with her. And as far as Elagos goes, like I played him, I think very sparingly last season. There was like a few games where I was like, haha, here I'll pull out Elagos and freaking cleaner cleave them. But yeah, 280 speed, highest combat power unit. Pretty nice stats, pretty nice whatever. Moving right along to Lidica. Also a unit that kind of fell off tremendously. She's still fast on my account, 280 speed. Um, I played her a few times. I played her into Landia once or twice last season. Kind of had some good success with that, but other than that, like as far as certain things go, with certain units, it just as the season progressed with the 2026 spring season, I found myself kind of playing less of my roster and more like de facto picks. Like it was more or less playing DN, Sigrid, Yoha, Ross, Bellion, and so on instead of going and dropping in a funny unit here or a funny unit there. Which brings us to Ariza, who's now 280 speed, because I've been just working and changing up stuff for the preseason and whatnot, trying to figure out stuff for next season. I tried to make her work last season. I played her a couple times. She was like 266 speed, which wasn't exactly the fastest. She needs the effectiveness. She needs the other stuff, and like she felt real difficult to use for my play style because like I said, me committing to playing like second pick and stuff like that, unless my opponent plays slow just the same like I am. So if my opponent goes and picks like Ilyanev, Ruel, Bellion, 1, 2, 3, then I could find a reason to play and speed up myself. But that's like the only like instance where it would be really for myself to speed up. New Moon Luna. For the longest time, I was on Etika Scepter. A lot of people were like, "Hey, if you're gonna play her like this, just put her on book. Just put her on book. Etika Luna is a thing of the past. Unless you're going and playing her slow and tanky and whatnot, don't even bother with Etikas." So I was like, "Fine, all right, bet I'll go ahead and do this." And I gave her 280 speed, and she takes the turns. She gets the job done. She's got some effectiveness to still land stuff with 50% at least success, so long as I'm not like fighting high ER or on effect in ER warfare. So yeah, not too bad with Luna here. Urban Shadow Shoot. So there's a meme in the E7 verse that anyone I played and beat last season in Legend would end up becoming Joe K whatever. Now, for those that are unaware, my IGN username is not Joe K. Joe K5 that is. So it's completely different. But like a lot of people were like, okay, now that you're gonna play as Joe, or now that you're essentially like Joe, you've got to play Shu on two because I picked this unit on two frequently. I played Yoha Shu, Shu on three, Shu on four. This unit was one of my top 10 units I think that I played. She was 279 speed on speed health. And then when Pursuit Set came out, there was a discussion about, okay, well, let's go ahead and see if we can get her to Pursuit Set to do more damage output and stuff like that. And as the season progressed, I got her to 271 on Pursuit Set. But then after the season ended, I was like, okay, I missed the speed, I missed the burst. Her being too slow lets her get susceptible to being ran down and stuff like that. So I was lucky enough to roll that 20 speed sword on her. And finally, I went ahead and changed her completely back to the faster builds I had. So she's back at 280 speed. She's got Sweet Miracle to knock off a debuff. Pretty solid build for myself here. Hellion Lua. So for the longest time, this was the only ML5 I was missing on my account. She was the most elusive unit after Closer Charles, and I have every single unit in the game. So for myself, Hellion Lua was pretty much that meme of, well, Joe's got everybody but X. And I mean, as far as she goes, I've always had her about 280 speed, guiding light. Some have said to make her ER or put her on immunity set which probably wouldn't exactly be like the worst idea. But I mean, I didn't exactly play her much last season. I saw people using her with better success. So I mean, there's definitely a feeling out process for how I want to go ahead and approach next season and future seasons with Lua, which brings us to Blue Lua. So for everyone that's kind of like wondering, like they buffed Conqueror Lilius, they buffed Ran, they buffed um they buffed Ahmed, and for the longest time, Blue Lua was one of the big openers in the game. The reset, the sleep, the beguile, all the other stuff. So I'm kind of like waiting in with bated breath, I guess you could say, on when they are going to probably buff this unit in the probably not so distant future. So I'm kind of keeping her geared. She's kind of geared for lunatic mode, rainy day. She didn't see any playment last season at all. Maybe I played her early in the season, but that was about it. All right, this unit probably one of the more center focal point units of my playstyle, my picking and stuff like that. Probably a top 5 unit that I picked. 275 speed now, thanks to the 19 I rolled this week. She was on Proof of Valor for the longest time for the season, and then I ended up changing her over from Proof to Secret Art Stormlord before the end of the season. The intention and the hope is I get a plus 30 Secret Art and then keep her about this speed. Try to bulk her up a little bit more because of the non-attacks and stuff to have her push up and cut whatever users use a non-attack. And yeah, so that's pretty much Eula in a nutshell. But I played her. She was probably one of my top 5, definitely top 5 units last season for pick rate. Galilius played her a couple times after her buff. She managed a one shot of Ross a couple times. Pretty standard gear for her here. Always had her pretty fast. Others have been like, hey, why don't you put her on ER or whatever? And it's just like I've never exactly had the chance to go ahead and make that change. Architect Like is an interesting one because she's been this way after her buff, but because of how many times people will pick Imperial Nilanav or whatever, Leica just doesn't have a place in the meta for me to pick. Like I pick Leica like haha funny pick here and there, but playing this unit just feels so incredibly bad. Like she's 273 speed and she's nothing more than just a fast gear holder for myself. Like even I've got the 20 speed on her there that you guys see. And it's just like, well, she's just a fast DPS holder. Bihu, kind of the same thing. Um, After the buff and him getting changed over, I mean, I tried to play him. I tried to make him work. He had some success, but it fell into this gray area where it was kind of like, unless you are faster with him to have him like take the turn or follow up and make sure that he gets that turn, I just couldn't really play Bihu like with much success last season. Like I would play him in the burn bomb and bleed warfare, and that would be it. P Flan, same thing. She was pretty much my bomb warfare unit and my number one pick whenever bomb warfare was an option. She was my pick on 4 or 5 with Zeo and on 3, and either SBA on 5 or yeah, no, it was SBA on 5. There was no other option. Whenever the bomb warfare came up, it was ZO3, Plan 4, SBA 5. That was my bread and butter draft. And she's 272 speed, so she bridges into Zeo well. She had maybe 20, 30, 40 games. I mean, I played a lot of games last season. So, yeah. I'll just be short, sweet, and simple about it. I wanted to make this unit work because of the hit chance and the other stuff for Zahak. In fact, this is why he is still geared as fast as he is geared. But this unit got me into hot water a couple times because of how much I would play him. And when I ended up changing my pre-bans, which is something you guys should literally. Well, okay, to preface this, one of the biggest things that is one of my cardinal sins as an RTA player is my constant switching of pre-bans. I always switch my pre-bans, and it's not one of the best habits to have. So like I'll have a stretch where I play a game here, I play a game there, and then I'll just go into a spiral where I'll lose a bunch, and it'll be like, okay, well this unit's giving me fits. I'm just gonna go ahead and just pre-ban them and let this unit out, and you can't exactly do it. You cannot climb consistently in this game if you're just a revolving door with pre-bans, which means that next season I am going to settle on 2, 3 pre-bans, and that's that. Okay, but yeah, as far as the hawk goes, fast unit, but unless you're taking the first turn and you're having a push to get him the second turn or whatever, or have something to protect him, you can't constantly play this unit. I will be real honest about that. Like just skimming over her real quickly, she's been 270 speed for the longest time on my account. I did not play this unit at all last season. We'll just move along. Wanderer's Silk. Um, the only time I played this season was Speed Imprint. Because of her 14 speed imprint, that is the only time she actually saw use. The few games that she did end up making it through and stuff like that, it was like, oh well, 99 effectiveness. You're not doing anything with that, Joe. You're not doing anything with that with no souls, with no whatever. So it was kind of like, yeah, she's just there to race and help me race, and that's about it. Sage Ball, I had some success with Sage Ball. Sped him up to 270 speed. Pretty decent effectiveness. Not too bad on the ER. So the 50-50, unless the Zeo had Soulburn to use, he wouldn't push me back on book for the extra turn. Pretty standard unit. Pretty okay, I guess, in terms of stuff. Singelica. So fun fact, I actually managed to get a couple games last season with Singelica. With how frequent Ruel of Light appeared last season and the prior season and the prior 2 seasons. Singelica actually saw play last season for myself. I had her rotating around artifacts, so I had her on um Soul of Consolation. I had her on Prophetic Candlestick to keep her. So if they focus on her, I had stealth that they would be able to knock her down. So she would go ahead and just keep herself in constant S3 state of immortality. But other than that, the only time I really played Singelica was more or less to extinct units whenever Ruel was on the battlefield or Chloe, and that was that. Knockwall. Knockwall was interesting. As far as I'll say on Knockwall, I saw numerous people pick and play Knockwall last season because if Mort was banned out or Luna was not available to pick because I had Bellion or Bellion was up on the or yeah, if I had Bellion, they would pick Knockwall to just go ahead and try to steal this area. And it either worked or it didn't work for them. So for me, I only played Knockball maybe 3 games last season. Very small pick rate, and yeah, she's 268 speed. Silverblade, like I said, bomb. Like I said was earlier with Flan, she was a bomb warfare, bomb burn stun warfare kind of unit that I played last season. So when I played Zeo, she was the number 5 and the number 4 pick depending on the order or whatever, and she had a decent rate. But because she doesn't have a strip, it's like I wonder how much I'm going to actually play this unit going forward. Kawarik's kind of interesting because for those that have watched me on Twitch, they will know that I've got a lot of haha funny units that I've got geared and whatever on my account. And Fire Quirk is one of those haha funny units. And looking at it in retrospect, his kit makes sense to have him as he is with souls. You just soul burn S2, grab something and reset it for 2 turns, which is kind of very strong, especially if you're resetting a Ruel of Light that wants to use her skills. That's not on Candlestick, but very, very low pick rate for Quirk. Frida, I didn't really play her much last season. Maybe a game or two, 266 speed. She was primarily a Guild War unit for myself. Saria, this unit, if I had a faster ran, I would have played Isaria more. Isaria was a unit that I did play a couple times last season as a funny, like, for one reason or another. There would be people that would play Ahmed on 3 in the burn, bomb, and bleed meta, or the warfare. And me being me, I would go ahead, put Politis on 3, Shuri on 4, Westwind Executioner Shuri, and I would put Summertime Assyria on 5. Now, this was before I had her geared as such, but it was still kind of humorous, kind of funny nonetheless to watch her get the. She got a couple wins, not enough to really like be consistent with it, but yeah, just a couple. We're just gonna go past Litica, 264 speed. Not really much of an effort. This unit is dead as dirt. Her best days are behind her. She needs a buff. Teiyu, I played Teiyu frequently last season, trying to figure out if it was a counter to DN, a counter to Ruel, trying to figure it out. I the increased skill cooldown was helpful at times, but I can't help but think that the other E, the one that's passive that increases off of the CR push of a non-attack, is better suited for him because some units have higher push-ups and his artifact only gives him a 10 CR push. But yeah, this unit's just utter dog. Uh, Desert Jewel Bassar didn't really see much play last season. He's just a holds fast gear. That's all I can say for him. Lady of the Scales, I had her pre-banned pretty much all of last season, and then I slowly got away from that and changed it up where it was as first pick for myself. I didn't find a reason to really ban Scales because this unit here, if my opponent didn't pre-ban her, then I would just take her first. If I had first pick and I was banning this unit, I was throwing away a pre-ban pretty much. So all I can say for Scales is pretty fast, pretty decent build here for her. X-Gift Gadget's kind of a funny tech, especially into Freerin when whenever my opponent would pick Bellion Freerin or Bellion DN, and they thought they were fine, and I would just get my S3 and just buy souls. It was kind of funny. Aki. So my Aki last season was not the best. My Aki last season was really slow, really whatever. Didn't have a high win rate, didn't have really a high pick rate for myself because he wasn't the fastest. That has since changed now with this preseason, so I can't wait to see about how to do that next season with Aki. But like now I'm slowly getting him prepared for next season. So the Inheritor of the Flame is going to have a interesting summer 2026 season. I can say that. Holiday Euphine for myself. She saw a lot of play early in the season and at the midway point of the season, but after DN came out, I just stopped playing her completely. She's 262 speed. She's on Junkyard Dog. She was on Guide to a Decision. Um, it just didn't exactly like fit the. It didn't exactly fit my playstyle to play this unit because the amount of times I played her, she had success whenever I would play into people that would play Zio Teu and would try to push me back, and she would prevent that. In which case, it was GG, I win. But after DN came out, and then people would just have to soul burn just to go ahead and do whatever, DN or Yuffie just fell off, all because of just how prominent DN came out and played. So yeah, Shouts here didn't exactly play this unit. She's 262 speed. I'm curious to see how much this unit gets played next season with Malona being evasion based. We'll see about that, but yeah. Araminta, same thing, 260 speed. Didn't exactly play her much last season. Pretty much same with Benevolent Roman here. Like a lot of these units are really fast on my account, and this is where it's infuriating the others because they're like, you have unit X, Y, and Z gear, Joe. Why don't you ungear these units and gear your other units better? And it's like, I should do that if I'm aiming for Legend now, but I haven't exactly like fully committed to the whole tearing down my account and kind of building it to the way I want to. I kind of glossed over it at times with Vic and Valky talking about, like I said earlier, where they kind of were like, we gotta get you to figure out your own play style, Joe, and figure out where you want to go. What are your goals? And that's kind of why it's just with these units here, it doesn't matter about how much of a unit is with Epic 7 because on a personal note, the game has so many units that you're like, oh, this unit's cool, this unit's cool, this unit's unique. But it's like, if you want to push for the high end ranks, to constantly be like the high end, best of the best, top 100 legend players, you have to go ahead and set yourself to find a play style, find a niche, get your units to the best that they can be, and pick those core units and pick that play style and stick to it. But yeah, that's a little mini rant out of the way. Straws, as far as Straws goes, Straws was pretty much he was in an interesting place last season. He started off 230. After the speed tuning, coaching, and stuff, he got up to 240. That still wasn't fast enough, and eventually I ended up settling on 260. So that 23 speed piece real or that 23 speed torrent piece really helped him out. But yeah, as far as it goes, Strauss, whenever Ilya was on the field for my opponent, I played Strauss. I played him in Briarcleave. I played him in the few times I tried to play Ahmed, and then there were a few times I just played him just raw dog S3 with like a Politis or something. Internal Launder or Ludwig. I had a very poor, bad win rate last season with Zio. So as far as Ludwig goes, like he's one of my best units geared. But in the times and instances where I played Ludwig, I just did not have the output like damage or whatever for him. It was just like infuriating because there were times when my opponent would just bulk up with Ilyanov or Ross or whatever, and I was just not killing stuff with Ludwig. So that's something for me to fix. Sid, I really did not pick this unit. I did not play this unit last season. Like he at the start of the season, he was on Wind Rider. He was like 265 speed, 268 speed, or something like that. And then as the season progressed, I just cannibalized his gear, took his gear from him, took his artifact, gave him like the leftovers, and all he mostly became was if I picked him for a speed imprint, that was it. Blooming Litica was an interesting pick for myself. she pretty much, like many others, depending on the play style I went for the drafts. So if I had Zio, I would try and play Lidica, and I had some success with her. In fact, having superhumanized Lidica to just delete units was absolutely freaking comical at best when I have a superhumanized Lidica thanks to Yoha. But as far as she goes, she just didn't see like a lot of play. Fumir, I did not play her last season. Don't be fooled. Don't be confused by it. This unit got buffed, and for as smug as she looks here, guys, I could not play this unit last season. There's a feeling out process on this unit. Moon Bunny. Moon Bunny Dominion is an interesting one. They after the buff where she was able to prevent units such as Ahmed from playing icking S2 S3 or Renak going S2 S3, like there was a it wasn't a bad thing because you would get the people that would still kind of like have her on that artifact. I mean, there were a couple that also ended up more or less having her on um Warhorn. They had Warhorn on her where they put her on like Proof of Valor or something like that. So they really made like a tanky bunny dom. And I can't help but think that I want to have her be a little bit faster. The 129 ER is kind of wasted, I have to say a bit. And in hindsight, I wanted to speed her up next season. But like as far as things go, she's kind of just there. Westwind Executioner Shuri, not exactly a lot to say about this unit. I did not play him a lot other than, like I said, with Sid and others. He was a speed imprint. He got maybe a couple games on the Warfare with the Bomb, Burn, Bleed one. And I sped him up a little bit off the off season and stuff like that. But overall, not exactly like the world's biggest thing. Ida, I tried to cleave and be funny with Ida last season at times and stuff like that, and I really took the time and the effort to speed her up, so she's like 255 speed. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't make this unit work. I have her high effectiveness to. I have her high effectiveness to land the CR pushback and the strips and the stun's kind of nice, but it's just like I just could not find a way to make her work. Pavel, just ignore this unit. As with other units on my account, I have them gear fast in hopes of like whatever, and some of them are just like kind of holding gear. So Pavel's just kind of holding gear. This unit. This was the third unit that was a problem unit for myself. So my problem units last season was Dien, Witch of the Mirror Tenebria, and Swift Flagbearer Sigrid. This unit was by far one of the more infuriating units because of just how often people would play this unit. She had an identity crisis at the when I got her out on her debut. She was a Destro build. When I tried to get serious about pushing for Legend, she went to a speed build. And then the last week of the season, I sped her up to optimal, where I was realistically 300 plus speed with the CR push. And this unit gave me a lot of frustration. Like, this unit was just infuriating to fight. Which brings me to this infuriating unit. So Freeman's kind of gotten counters now as the stuff has gone along and progressed. Because on her release, she didn't exactly have many freaking counters to her. But yeah, my Freeman went from a slow Destro torrent build to a fast speed immunity build because there is instances where I would play this unit into Yoha last season, and all the Yoha would have to do is just S2 or S superhumanize Ross, push up Ross, and then Ross would just S2, S3 and kill me, and that would be GG. So Yoha or free run on immunity kind of prevents Ross from doing that and one shotting her, which is kind of nice. But that's about it. She's more or less, this is a bridge for Briarcleave. This is a bridge for Ahmed. This is a bridge for pretty much anything else. I had success with Freeman last season playing her like that, but it was kind of a flash in the pan. Charlotte. So the only reason I built this unit was because of people in chat were like, "Hey, you should go ahead and if you're gonna make Zeo work, you need to go ahead and play this unit to bridge better." So yeah, a 252 shark. I did not have a very fun time using this unit last season. Broken Will of the Priest, probably should switch that off. I fought one that was on Spear of a New Dawn that absolutely blew my entire team up. But others said that the better success rate is like the triple torrent set for her. So I mean, like that may be something along the lines of a different playman idea. But this is how her build is. I got 2 wins with her last season, and that was about it. Uh, Ocean Breeze Luluka, not a lot to say about this unit. She's fast, but not fast enough. She's on Soul Constellation. She was intended to be a Ahmed counter pick at times, and it just never happened, never materialized. I got a win with her last season, and that was about it. Solitaria, as frequent as I played Harsetti users last season that played Harsetti Flan, I kind of forgot that Solitaria existed, which is kind of a bad thing on myself, and just goes to show just how much RTA I play. And it was kind of like, it kind of took like others saying, "Hey Joe, what unit here comes out and can prevent Flan from popping off and having 3 rounds in the chamber to s to duel you to death?" I was like, "Oh, Solitario." Yeah. So as far as Solly goes, like not terrible, not bad, but I deserve to give her more justice. I touched on this unit earlier. Dragon King Sharoon, people were like, "Hey, why don't you play her more into Cigarette? Why don't you play her more into whatever?" DDR was like a flash in the plan. There was people that would play a fast DDR, but like this unit, the only time I really played Sharoon last season was in like the same comp with Maya Rinok. I had her 251 speed. Probably want to slow her down. She gets a 40% CR push, which is kind of nice. So maybe a build going forward for myself is probably just to lean heavily into like the speed immunity set and just bulk her up so Sigrid doesn't like run her down. So we'll see how that goes. Fesavita, another unit that's on pursuit set. She ended up on pursuit set near the midway point, end of the season for me. She was like, I had her at 270, 275 speed, but to play her willingly into Briarcleave would require 290, 295 ETA on Guide to a Decision, something I did not have. So the other alternative was just make her 250 speed, have her with enough bulk, enough whatever, and just hope that she didn't get sealed or whatever. And then just when she gets exposed, just let her passive just go ahead and blast things, which kind of was how it went. Elena was a pretty good pick for me last season. High ER to prevent her from getting like landed with debuffs. Magaraha's Tome for the CR push. the dispels and stuff like that. She was pretty decently speeded at 250 speed. So long as I wasn't fighting anyone that was like able to have like a Politis or a Abyssal Euphine on the opposing side, she would usually cut and take the turn, which was kind of nice. So I would just like have them if they just S3'd, Elena would push up, and that would be that. So yeah, very very good, very strong unit for myself for counter cleave. Vildred. So a little fun fact with Vildred, I have had a lot of fun with Vildred's buff in the preseason. I have absolutely enjoyed it, and I am going to get Vildred Torrent set because as much as I love him being on crit set here, he deserves Torrent. His damage is insane. It is so fun to watch him dancing Blade and then Blade Ascent and kill my entire opponent. So hey, Vildred, don't worry, buddy. I got you. I am going to give you the gear you deserve, bud. But this was mine from last season. 250 speed. He was 255 speed at one point last season, which wasn't too bad, but he was there as a Briar Cleave pick for myself or a speed imprint. And with the new Kali out, it's going to be interesting to see how many people are going to fight over Vildred and Kali. Schneel. So Schneel, I don't have him on Pursuit set. I've thought about putting him on Pursuit set, but Schneel's in an interesting spot because Poison and whatnot is kind of not exactly like one of the big playstyles. Let's see. I know one thing about Poison or Venom. Yeah, unfortunately, if he gets slept, he just dies. So unless you're fighting something that has Poison or Venom on him, like a Bubble Maker or Harsetti or whatever, you're not exactly like picking this unit frequently, and DDR just doesn't have to hold or doesn't have to use his buttons. So yeah, Schneel is Schneel. Infinite Horizon at Kates, not a terrible unit for myself, but she had a bit of an identity crisis last season for myself. She was on Idol's Cheer for a bit. She was on Eternus. She was on Wand. She was on Guiding Ice Crystal. Couldn't exactly find a solid artifact for her. And with how far Luna dropped off, I just didn't see a real need or a real desire to really play Achates much last season. Because picking her into Sigrid was absolutely miserable. Sigrid would just sleep her and that would be it. Or I'm sorry, he would fear her and that would be it. Which brings me to this guy. This guy was one of my good counter picks to Sigrid. Now, originally, I did not have him on Sweet Miracle. That changed. I had Sweet Miracle on Lilius, or Conqueror Lilius at the start of the season, and then it kind of boiled down to with he already gets a one spell. He already knocks off debuffs for one turn with his passive. So it was like, okay, well, I just give him Sweet Miracle. He knocks off the one automatically, and Sweet Miracle knocks off the other one, and then I just has three, and I just cleanse her fear. So yeah, as far as things went, Quirk was a strong pick into Sigrid for myself. It was something I was low on the upkeep on, but once I figured it out, it was like, okay, that's pretty solid. Pretty decent HP, pretty decent ER, pretty decent stats overall for him. Pretty decent unit. Pretty solid. Pretty good in my whatever. Boy, this is going for a while. We're gonna have to do like a lightning round here. Okay, lightning round. Engage. Operator Sigrid only saw playment when the season was earlier on when people were playing FCC a lot. After certain units came out, this unit just fell off. Didn't see a lot of playment. Kind of a shame. I enjoyed running people down with her, but not terrible, not the baddest. But yeah, 250 speed. Laya. Laya was pretty good for myself. Sweet Miracle, pretty decent on the cleanse. people played her on Warfare set. I know that they played her Warfare set into the Harsettis and stuff like that. I, of course, kept my Laya on speed set because I preferred speed set Laya more than anything else. And yeah, I gotta re-roll that EE, huh? Oh, that's something to fix. Well, yeah. All right, I know what to do after this review ends. Landy, respect the great Landy. For anyone wondering, this was probably my top. Yeah, she was in the top 15 for my units last season. Landy went from uh speed immunity, 230 speed, 240 speed, to me running her up to 243, 244 speed on speed torrent, and playing her into made players, into Urban Shadow Shoe, into Ross, into whatever. And I really had a lot of success with Landy last season. I got the plus 30 Walls of Order, of course, from the art of the banner for the triple banner when that came around. Got her a dupe too. So Landy is Landy, favorite ranger in the game. And yeah, that's about all I can say about Landy. Okay, this guy. This guy caused problems for me last season. When I got Teiyu, I didn't realize that Teiyu was changed over from a Destro pen build, like the 160, 170 Teiyu, that people that preferred to play him to cut Veronica, cut whatever, sped him up and put him on a speed build. I was not aware of that. Now that caused a little bit of tensions and so on and whatnot and things like that and whole other can of worms and whatnot. But moving past that, this is my speed set Teiyu that I have for. I played him at the end of last season with mixed results, and the intention is to play him next season going forward with the new support warfare and other stuff, and have him be a play with C Phantom Politis and Zio. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully I can have a better win rate with my Teiyu because he's almost 4K attack and pretty like better. I prefer him more than the blue Teiyu. Melissa, we'll just slide past this unit. Played her primarily in Guild War. Well, okay. I played her once or twice in preseason Guild War. She's more or less on my Labyrinth team. She's just pretty much just holding fast gear at this point. I tried to play her a couple times. I lost to a Melissa last season, infamously. That was a fun time. And yeah, not a whole lot to say about that. Cerise, skip over her. Lilius. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's why you weren't exactly at the top of the list. You're missing gear. Lilius last season was 297 speed at one point, and then there was kind of the whole identity thing of where are you playing this unit? You don't have the speed to pick this unit. How often do you play this unit? And the Lilius just kind of fell out of favor. I ended up cannibalizing her gear. I could not play this unit frequently last season. Bunny Dom kind of was the nail in the coffin on her, and yeah, she's on Warhorn. She used to be on Sweet Miracle, and that's about all I can really say about her. DDR, 241 speed here on this, almost 200 effectiveness. Guardian Ice Crystal, because while Queen's Whistle or whatever would be nice on him for a push and whatnot, I prefer some sort of healing on him. Lethe didn't exactly play her last season. She got buffed. Well, we'll see how that goes. Sid didn't exactly play him much at all last season. I picked him once by accident, got a win, and that was about it. Elena, she kind of appeared a couple times last season as a counter pick because Issaria came out, but didn't exactly really do much with her. Same with this unit. Couldn't really play this unit at all. Vibeless, aside from the plus 30 artifact, she just kind of existed. Surin, same thing. Robin kind of buffed this season, so we'll see how Robin performs. Zio, I had a 31 or 32% win rate with Zio last season. So, yeah, not exactly my sparkling performance with Zio. But as far as Zio goes, he's not too bad. 237 speed. Would like to get closer to 240 speed to make sure I take that first turn. Would kind of prefer if I could get this off of him so I could actually put this on a different unit so I could have a better whatever and speed up with someone else. But yeah, he's on book now. I had him on Lotus Ring for the longest time. People were like, "Well, that's kind of pointless to give him Lotus Ring." So he's on book. That's that. But fun fact, I will say a fun fact for Wretched Rose here. People say this unit's bad. I had a 100% win rate with this unit last season. It was a small sample size. I played her in 4 games. I picked her in 8, and she was 4-0. She was 4-0 in those games because I played her with LRK and other units and caught my opponent off guard. So good on you and good on whatever. And Mnom, here's your shout out, buddy, for your favorite character. Winter, we'll skip along her. We'll skip along Euphine. Dilibet. The summary on Dilibet is like this. Destro set is probably optimal for her if you want a cleave, like anti-cleave Dilibet, but preferably speed is one of the better ways to go. I had her on that new Axe artifact at one point. I had her on a couple other artifacts. She's 234 speed. She's back on Durandal because people would just push her back. And yeah, this is my Dilibet. I expect to play Dilibet a lot next season into Kali. I might go ahead and tinker around the build and just make it a nuclear Dilibet. So if she's the last one standing after Kali does Kali things, I just S3 with her and just blow everything up. Tywin didn't exactly play Tywin at all last season. Kind of just re-gear him as such. Oh, okay. Second fun fact. So I had one game last season with Asaria. Yes, Green Asaria got a game last season. That one game Green Asaria got, I messed up and accidentally picked her. I intended to pick something else and I picked Asaria. Guess what? I won because Asaria got her turn. She was nearly ungeared, but she still had gear on her. And all I did was S2, S3, and my opponent quit because I S2'd Renak. So, head pats to Asaria. Good job. Ainz. We'll just skip along this. Carrot. She was on book, lost her book to DN when DN came out. Not a whole lot to say about Carrot. Jacko kind of changed up Jacko a bit. I played Jacko a couple times last season, but it wasn't exactly like a real high pick rate with her. She had a couple wins, but it was kind of like I'll show the gear for what's on her. 230 speed, almost 300 crit damage. Like she's okay. Not the greatest, not the best, but it's like there were mistakes that were made here. I will say about the Jacko because I did use a slate or 2 on her, and then other units came out that wanted slates and more. So yeah, live and you learn. Sea Phantom, I'm sorry, you're not Sea Phantom Politis. You're Politis. I'm sorry. There was a bug that they had, uh, with the Sea Phantom, skin that came out, where if you had this skin with Politis, she would cosplay and statically slide across the screen and have Sea Phantoms S3. But yeah, they fixed that. I like the skin. I like how the Politis is. She's a counter pick unit into most that would just go ahead and non-attack. Primarily, it would be Ahmed, but then of course the warfare would usually be resistance, so I couldn't exactly play her frequently. But hey, she's 200. She's 230 speed, decent effectiveness, plus 30 abyssal crown. So she did her job. She did her damage, and that's about all I can really say about her. Didn't exactly play Closer Charles. Didn't exactly play Shuna. Vivian's on my Labyrinth team. I played Archdemon Mercedes sparingly last season. She's always been on a counter set build for myself just because of how it's been. People are probably like, well, why do you have her on book? Why do you have her on this? And it's just because I could give her any other artifact, but at the speed she's at and what she does is if my opponent goes ahead and cycles out of their effectiveness, by the time my freaking mare takes her turn, I just go ahead and just seal them. So yeah, so long as she survives, like that's the kind of the main thing. She only saw placement into Setsuka last season for myself, so that was a fun pick. Crow didn't exactly see much play last season. Tenebria's whatever. Shuri, speed imprint. Oh, you're missing boots. Okay, well, sorry for that one there, Kisei. Uh, Kisei is an interesting spot. Judge Kisei, I had hopes to use this unit, and in typical fashion, after a balance patch, usually there's like one or two or three units that ends up getting played, and Kisei just didn't see any playment. I played her once or twice, and that was about it. I got a win with her, and we move right along. Sylvan Sage Vivian. So I need to get this unit changed over to Destro set, Destro Torrent. But I've had her on Lifesteal for the longest time. Why? Because I enjoy having her on Lifesteal set for her self-sufficient. While it's nice that she can do like big Boku damage and whatever, I would rather have her be self-sufficient, keep herself alive, have the barrier and stuff like that, and kind of whatever. And like she's immune to certain debuffs, so that's a plus with so long as she's got focus. So I mean, there is a chance that she sees placement next season. Uh, Fenris. So this unit would not even have been a blip on my radar, and then I fought KHM, and KHM picked this unit into me. And while this unit died, and I got my one lone win against KHM, um, I thought it was still funny that he actually picked this unit and had this unit built. And I was watching KHM play this unit a couple times, and this unit has actually done better than how things have gone. So, it's a trial period for Fenris. He's still geared. I'd like to get him a little bit faster to counteract the new Kali and stuff like that, but he works. Abigail, whatever. Genoa was my Politis bridge. I had to speed him up to properly bridge with Seafan and Politis last season. He was like at 200 speed, but yeah, that didn't exactly cut, so he had to move up to 220 speed. He's still a little too slow. I think I needed him to 230 speed, so probably gonna have to change this helmet out for something faster, and then I could actually pick him with more confidence. But yeah, pretty decently built Genoa. Uh, Target Ways while young, kind of the same way. She was not exactly picked frequently last season. That might change with how things are with new things. She went from 5K attack to 4.1K attack, so we'll see how that goes. Katie was really kind of like in between. I had her on speed build when she came out because we didn't have warfare set. Actually beat KJ because I fought KJ and didn't realize it with my crappy speed set of Katie, and that was the chat pointed that one out to me. I didn't realize it, so oops, sorry KJ. But yeah, she got warfare set, and she's not too bad. She needs a little bit more. She's decently got decent bulk, decent whatever, decent speed. Not terrible, not the greatest. LRK, kind of anti souls or whatever. 27K almost HP, 115 ER. He was kind of decent, but he kind of fell off as the season progressed. Maid Chloe was super strong, super annoying. It's kind of a shame that I'm getting to the point where I'm getting to these certain units here. I've been going for like an hour now. Cool. But made Chloe. She was on a counter build at the start of the season, and then she went to speed HP, and I finally settled on speed immunity because the end exists, and any unit without immunity versus the end was kind of sketchy. So yeah, Tama, haha, funny warfare set. That's about all I can say about Tamarin. I played her a couple times. I got a couple wins with her last season. Not too bad, but not exactly like really optimal on her. Roy, I'm kind of curious about this unit for next season with the support with the fighting spirit, but we shall see. Elvira, mainly a Guild War unit for myself. Sid, he was fast. He was like 285 speed at the start of the season last season. And then I cannibalized his gear and it went to other faster units and he just never recovered. So yeah. This guy's dead as dirt. Sorry, Rylet. You're just not whatever. Unless this guy gets something to really pop off or whatever. He's catching strays right and left from the evasion, from Xeno's buff, from Sigrid's release to whatever. There's no saving Remnant Violet. Like I said, haha funny units. I tried to play Luna previous seasons. This season I just couldn't play her. Burn. Okay. This unit. The way I have her built, she can one shot Isaria. For most 22, 21k Isarias, this Fern one shots them. Nothing would be more entertaining than watching my opponent have Isaria just for me to pick Fern and blow up the Fern because Isaria got one shot. So hey, Warfare set Fern, kind of a legit. I would like to speed her up a little bit more. 220, 225 would be ideal, but this kind of works. I have room for imprints on her, and yeah, the pouty Fern face that's best for me. Kawazu, sorry buddy. Saria, mostly last season I played her with Renak. She was 220 speed, which means I don't know. I think my tuning is a little bit off with her. I'm gonna have to speed her up to see about that and see if I can get her back up to the speed tuning. But she's on Destro Torrent. But yeah, there's a good chance that Sari will see play next season. One of my few reversal set units did not see any play last season. Did not see any play last season. Guild War. My one riposte unit. Okay, my one of my few riposte units is planned here. Afternoon so flan. Uh, not a whole lot to say about this unit. Dual attack chance. Mostly you had the fighter whenever people were playing Harsetti and Flan together. So I didn't exactly play her as frequently as I should have. That's gonna change next season. Tori. Yes, this is my Tori. In anticipation of her playing her next season. I can't wait to see how this performs. I've had a couple of games with her in preseason, and her stuff's kind of crazy. Valencia, not a real unit. Rimuru, nope. Lionheart, pretty solid in terms of the playing for her. She's too. The one knock from others on Lionheart here is that she's not on immunity set, which is kind of one of the biggest knocks on her. Like if there's anything that's a real knock on her, it's I need to get her on immunity set. Because if she gets sealed by Ross being pushed up by um Yoha, or if she gets just outright sealed by Dien or whatever, she's kind of useless, kind of bad, and that's that. So yeah, Sermia, there's a wish list to build her on immunity set, and that's that. Not a unit. I wish she was a unit. Kisei. I built my Kisei and geared her in terms of how Ahmed play, and yeah, never really got to play her with Bunny Dom coming out to nip Kisei in the butt. So yeah, but pretty solid build on Kisei here. Might try to switch back into a speed build, but yeah, this is my Kisei. Skip past you. I played Celine frequently last season. A lot of people were like, "Hey Joe, you played too much Celine. You played too much Celine." Well, that may be true, but I like Celine. Yeah, not a lot to say about Celine here, other than almost 200 speed, almost 4,400 attack. Pretty solid in terms of her gear and stuff like that. But she only saw placement into CPAN and Politis and people that just did not put up like double the skill nullifier. Didn't play Ross. Played Ed in one game. Aiden appeared once or twice. Didn't play Spectre much. Arya was a frequent pick from myself. As far as Arya goes, she was a pick that was go where it would be Yoha Arya, and had a lot of decent success with her. One of the biggest gripes is trying to get this 14 speed EE on her, but as far as Arya goes, like I like how I've got my Arya geared. There was a little bit of trying to figure out how to play her into Sigrid and play her into certain units last season. And yeah. Oh, Milim. So she went from a speed build, 250, 260 speed build, into haha funny riposte set build. So I actually got 2 or 3 wins with her last season. But we'll see how the riposte set build goes on her. Sharoon, not a real unit, unfortunately. Amelia, not real. Rowana, no. Spez, tried to play him a couple times. Okay, there he is. Genesis Ross. This was the fourth unit that gave me the most fits last season. It was pretty much Yoha, Ross, Sigrid, Tenebria, Dien. Top 5 units. And, like, this guy would just no matter what the situation, no matter what the stuff was with Ross, I would just constantly be bull rushed by this guy. This guy has high damage output. This guy has high freaking whatever. He is a unit that causes me to lose hair, lose whatever, and lose a lot of games. That much I can say. I actually had to speed my Ross up last season. He was originally 154 speed, now he's 186. So yeah. Oh, well, I didn't exactly plan that one. This unit. This unit deserves her own separate freaking rant, freaking whatever. As you see, first thing about this unit, Idol's Cheer. I have a lot of things to say about people that play this unit on Prophetic Candlestick. You guys know who you are. You guys are the lowest of lows, scummest of scums for playing this unit on Prophetic Candlestick. And I really wish that Smilegate would nerf that artifact and make it PvE only. Because with how that artifact operates, it should not give her the tempo and stuff that she deserves. But I made my rank with Idol's Cheer, and that's that. She's on reversal set with the uh resistance 148 to I had her almost at 150. Decent speed, decent bulk, decent HP. This unit's buff, this unit's EE was both a mistake, and I am so glad that they are getting more extinction units introduced to just snuff this unit out. That's all I can say about that. I've got 3, maybe 4 more units to talk about. APOC Robbie, one of my highest played units last season. I really enjoyed how they changed APOC. Like, superhumanizing APOC with Yoha, absolutely fun. Playing APOC in resist meta warfare and just having her just outlast certain units in certain comps, probably the de facto just let Ravi cook and just run stuff down. So it was a pain in the butt trying to get her to back to 100% crit because the changes and stuff like that. But once I got the EE and the other stuff all sorted out, like it was a matter of one thing after the other, and pretty much I am happy with how Ravi looks. Might have to change this piece because I got I think I'm overcapped on crit, but yeah. Didn't play Sez last season. I played Fenny a couple times. Didn't play Shu. Didn't play Arya. Didn't play Arrow, but she's an interesting buff. FCC kind of fell off. Aram was more or less just your average anti-Arcetti pick. Like, I'm on Prot set with her. Kind of like you can tell this review has been an hour and a half long when I'm just like rambling out of stuff to talk about. Karina didn't play her much last season. Hylas was a Guild War unit. Uh, Dark Corvus was an interesting one, where after he ended up with Warfare set coming out, he was played more frequently. But for me, but I think that Corvus needs an EE at some point. The boots are kind of interesting on him. A lot of flat HP and stuff like that. But yeah, not a whole lot to say about Corvus. LQC, I played her a couple times, but not a lot. Crow is Crow. Didn't play you. This unit, I am curious to see how well she performs next season. Like the preseason testing that I've got through this unit has been an interesting uh experimentation with her. She is super strong in some of the right fights, and yeah, I cannot wait to play Lone Crescent Bologna next season. She is my my one of my favorite characters. I can't wait to do stuff with this unit next season. But we're just gonna run down the last couple units because I see I'm almost at the end here. Euphine, pretty strong unit. She's still on Life Steel set and immunity for myself. She's on Holy Sack. People are like, well, why not give her Elbrus? And there are reasons to that. Vildred played him once or twice last season. Didn't exactly play Senya frequently. She made an appearance or two. Mort was a frequent player that appeared last season with Asaria coming out. Bystander, one of my best built units as far as units building goes. But as far as Hua Young goes, like she's in an interesting place right now as far as how I perceive her. I want to bulk her up a little bit more. Probably try to get her to 17k because usually just trying to outstand a Ross S3 is just not exactly optimal with her at 16,000 health. Auden was kind of an anti-Arcetti pick. She's on immunity set because nothing like trying to avoid like the rogue Arcetti Abyssal Crown stuns or the Bubble Maker stuns. So yeah, Auden is Auden. Didn't exactly play Seaside much. Charlotte. The only notable thing from Charlotte last season was someone coming into my chat last season and saying, "Why is your Charlotte or why is your Carmen health start with a 2?" And then they showed Meow Mix's Carmen with 33,000 health, and it was like, see. So pretty much nice mitigation night. Haste, he saw a couple games. Bellion frequently played last season. I know that some people played her on speed set and pursuit at the end of the season, but I kept her true to counter and resist with 3F. Cavill, kind of a cleave unit with free ring cleave and whatnot and briar cleave and stuff. Yoho was just the anti free ring pick. Christie saw a couple games with to offset Cigarette. I hate this unit. I don't like anything about this unit, but I have her geared because, of course, I have to have her geared. That's all I can really say about her. Just a preview into next season with Zeno. People are probably thinking they're saying why is he on barrier set? Well, because I don't value Mola Goring Zeo. Aside from what Zeno's at, I would much rather just go ahead and Mola this with the passive, and that's that. K-Ron, high HP, high ER, immunity, HP, pursuit, go next. Like, that's all I can say about K-Ron. Didn't play Wukong, and then the last. Okay, there are 4 more units I see that I can talk about here. Kid Senya, she too when she was on speed HP set for the longest time, then prot set HP set, and then with how Seal became a prevalent pain in the butt, I had to give her immunity set, and then pursuit set kind of just happened, and yeah, not the greatest boots, but they work. Setsuka, evil never looked so beautiful, and this unit gave me just grief for 2 straight seasons. Plus 30 lethal whisper, almost 27k health. This unit freaking drove me up a wall last season. Imperial Ilanav, pretty much big tank as far as she goes. She'll be 34k, I think, closer to it with with her self imprint and stuff like that. But I played her primarily on team imprint for the ER. Not too bad, not too great, but as far as she goes, she's kind of just like there. He didn't see any play. Amiki, save us, Amiki-chan. That was one of the biggest things. She too ended up on pursuit set at some point last season. Tried to keep her around 150 ER. She was a very strong unit for myself. Couldn't really do much with BBK, but she's on counter. Boss. This unit for myself is probably a dead pick next season. But we'll see how that goes. But she's on counter set right now until probably I change her over to Proof of Valor or something like that. But yeah, the Moas Rocket Punch build's probably dead as a doorknob. And then the last unit to talk about, one of my highest picked units after her debut. Thank you again, Satch Pet Play, for funding me this unit. You didn't have to do that, but you saved me days shop refreshing and whatnot by donating. And yeah, there's not a lot to say about this unit other than I really enjoyed playing this area. Plus, look how happy she looks. Okay, I lied. There's 2 additional units to talk about. There's 2 additional units. Navy Landy. God, give this unit a buff, Smilegate. I got this unit after the height of her freaking peak seasons, and then she kind of just faded to obscurity because everything now crits, everything just destroys her. And I like Landy. And then, of course, ML Ken. When Veronica came out, or when DN came out and you had to face someone that has to go ahead and crit on DN and stuff like that. Ken was the counter pick to that. So yeah, but no, that wraps up my my RTA season. As far as I have to say, like any closing thoughts, any closing review, and things like that. My top 3 units for myself that were the standouts were Yoha, Ross, and Isaria were my top three. And then my top three units that gave me fits were Sigrid, DN, and Ruel. Like, and an honorable mention for just a pain in the ass unit to me was Harsetti, but Harsetti is just generally a pain in the butt. Anyways, thank you all for watching this. Like I said, if you guys want to check me out, I'm on twitch.tv/JoeK5. I stream there every day, E7. I finished this past season with my second Emperor badge secured, second Emperor frame, and the intention is to push next season for Legends, so hopefully I can do that. We'll see how that goes. Like I said, thank you for watching this account review. I know that there's a lot of units I have geared. I didn't even talk about Rowana. She's I just noticed her. She's here. She saw a game or two or three or four accidental picks because I picked her instead of VN. But yeah. Thank you for watching this one, guys. And I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.